Jessie Scott here, WMOT Roots Radio for the 2025 30A Songwriters Festival in South Walton. And what a way to kick off 2025 with the Secret Sisters.
Yes. You cannot beat this festival at this time of year.
I
It's
know.
great every time.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to walk away from houses with kids and be away for just a couple days?
In some ways, it feels very, very easy. In others, it's a lot of preparation in order to get out the door.
It's a lot easier if you're headed to a tropical location.
Yeah.
That seems to be, I didn't have any mom guilt this time. When I loaded up my car and was heading out, I had none of the anxiety or sadness or oh, are they going to be okay? I was like, see y'all on Sunday. And I think it's because I knew I was coming here and I was going to just recharge.
Yeah.
So it can be hard. That's been probably the biggest adjustment for us in the last 5 years or so, is figuring out the balance of, traveling to play shows and then what we can manage and what feels unfair to our children and to us. But we found a balance that works for now. And of course, it's always changing. But yeah, it can be tedious, but our kids are now old enough to understand, mommy's got to go work. She'll be back. She'll bring you a souvenir from the airport, So yeah, it can be hard, but it's also, I think it's important for them to see us, being great at caring for them and very present with them, but also, still exercising our creativity and loving, the result of that.
I think also having grown up with music around you, for you to be imparting that to the next generation is kind of a really cool thing.
Yeah, we're trying to. I think with COVID, that changed a lot of things, especially with us having kids. The plan in the beginning was for us to bring our kids with us on the road. And then, we released our record in February 2020, and then COVID happened the next month. And so they have not really seen a lot of this side of us since then, but they will.
For the early years of their lives, we were mostly at home, just because of the fact that shows couldn't happen. And so now that they're all a little bit older and we are kind of picking up a little more steam and getting back to, being more regular about it, it's actually kind of fun, because I think that, you want your kids to be proud of you, especially as they get older. But I do feel like our kids are proud of us now. They know our songs. My kids will request by name our songs, and I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I have to sing it all the time. I don't want to listen to myself, but they know it, and it sticks with them, and it means a lot to me when kids respond to what we make, even though we don't make children's music at all. It's nice to have that kind of family tradition passing on. Now, would I tell my children to be professional musicians? I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Well, so, the trajectory is so different,
It is.
And you have lived it. You lived the, getting a major label deal dream and, then not, and have made a way for yourselves to continue to be creative. And, that's, I think, how you have to be nimble in this day and age.
You do have to.
Yeah, we have certainly learned a lot the past 16 years.
Yeah.
I just realized that 2009 was 16 years ago. But we started kind of at the top, and we've gone down and up ever since then. And we're still learning every single day. It's different all the time.
Mm-hmm. But the thing that I notice is I do feel like we've had a lot of very dramatic highs and lows, but every artist that I know and admire could say a very similar thing. It's just the nature of being a creative person who also makes a livelihood at their art. So I don't know. There were times in the past where I would feel not sad, but just man, this has been so hard. It's been just so unpredictable and unsteady, and you don't know what each year is going to hold. But every artist that I know and that I love their work, I'm their story was different and their ups and downs were different, but it was still hard. It's still a hard thing to be a creative person in a world that sells you very cheaply, and there are so many that it's saturated. Sometimes it can feel that way.
Yeah. The unpredictability of it can sometimes feel exciting too.
True. That's true.
I think being adaptable and willing to change with the times is something that we have had to learn over and over and over. But I think we're getting better at it and just learning to roll with the times and see what happens, and just keep writing good songs and going.
I think because of that, you write from a very alive place where we really feel, kind of what you're going through. You're not. I think for some people that make a ton of money, and they're cloistered away, that they don't really have that street feeling, but you guys do. So
we don't know any other way. We struggle when we try to do anything but that. And that is one thing that now that we have, a good many records out in the world, when I look back over the course of the records that we've released, I feel, I don't know, just a love and a warmth for us, because it's like these chronicles of our lives, and we wrote about the things that were very pertinent to us in that moment. And so it's almost like a living photo album where I can look back and listen to a song and think about all the things that led me to creating that.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to chronicle a life. And, going back to our children, I love the fact that my children are going to have albums that we wrote in these seasons of our lives, and that they can kind of trace our path and see what we were feeling when we were this age. And that might be terrifying for them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, mommy wanted to kill this guy. Sweet.
She loved to write sad songs. But I just think as a person who, we're very close with our parents, I would love to have notebooks full of my parents' thoughts and feelings to look back on and to see what they were dealing with. So I am thankful that it wasn't the intention when we started writing records, but I'm happy that my kids will have something about us that will outlive us.
So the most recent record, Mind, Man, Medicine.
You got it. A lot of alliteration in that. We did that on purpose.
It's such a great title. It really is. Where'd it come from?
Well, it came from a song. One of the songs on the record is called Same Water. And the week we wrote that song, Lydia had seen Bonnie Raitt in concert, and she was just, deep in the Bonnie love. Yeah. And she had this just one kind of conceptual, kind of lyric, but more melodic thing. Yeah. And we just ran with it from there. And that was kind of, I don't know, I think that in making the record, this record felt like a study in all the things that we've tried to use in the attempt to find peace and being settled and, okay, just generally okay. And it felt like it really kind of summarized all the different approaches that we've had to take to be at a place where we are, all right. So that was kind of the perfect thesis in a way.
Yeah. What are you going to play for us first?
So Paperweight is one of my favorite songs. That song was not a song that I ever I didn't just love it when we wrote it, but as we have recorded it and then played it out, I love playing that song. We open all of our sets with it because it's actually kind of a happy number.
We are not known for our joyful tunes.
No, it's, a little more upbeat. It's very, Americana. It's just quintessential Americana. And it's, I don't know, it's nice to start out our set with a little bit of positivity because it's usually going to go downhill from there. So,
always does. Always does.
Yeah. So Paperweight is the one.
Laura and Lydia, the Secret Sisters, here with Paperweight. The Secret Sisters with us here at 30A. I Got Your Back.
Yeah.
Great song.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great sentiment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel Muscle Shoals. I feel kind of small town life and, family and love and really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. That song is actually, in the writing of this record, there were several sessions that I couldn't go to because, children. And Lydia actually wrote that song without me.
That song was written with Sarah Buxton and Jessie Balin out of Nashville.
Yeah.
And I loved writing with them. And they brought out a side of us that I feel like we haven't tapped into yet. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that so much. It reminded me a lot of the McGarrigle sisters and that kind of world. So it was nice to experiment with that.
Yeah. One of the things about that song that, you can't really know the breadth of a song until you really kind of live inside of it. And I've loved that song ever since Lydia showed it to me, and I love the way that it was captured on the record. But when we sing it, you know, that song, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Lydia was in the mindset of like mother to child. This is a message to my children of, you know, I'm here, like I'm on your side no matter what. I love you regardless of anything. And I love that because it's familiar to me. That emotion is very familiar to me. But the song, it's funny because every time we sing it, I don't feel that I'm thinking about my children when I sing it on a stage, or when we sang it in the studio. I'm thinking like, I need to be channeling like my motherhood feelings. But in the recording of that song, we were standing facing each other with a microphone between us, our worst nightmare. I don't want to look at her while I'm singing. And we're standing there facing each other. And we're like, this is going to be so awkward. And so she's playing it and we're like, you know, looking right at each other. And it was funny because even though that song was written about the mother-child bond, I felt like we were singing it to each other. And then when we sing it on stage, I actually feel like it's a message to the fans that are in the room. And I don't know, I just think that I love that it's kind of become, for me anyway, like an anthem to whoever is present with me. And I don't know, it just feels nice to send out like a almost
positive
like,
message.
Yeah, like an energetic hug to be like, you know, like we're here together, and that's the most important thing. There's no screen blocking us. There's no like, you know, disagreement that we have about anything. Like we're here in person looking at each other, and I'm here for it. I just think that's lovely.
Breathing as one.
Breathing as one.
It's so beautiful to watch you guys. I mean, seriously, it's so lovely. I mean, your harmonies, obviously, you know, there's nothing like family harmony.
We practice all the time.
No, we don't. We practice zero.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell our secret. That's the secret. So we never practice.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because I don't think I've ever asked on camera, what the name, how it became, how you became the Secret Sisters. Were you hiding each other?
No. That would have been a much better story.
She wanted to hide me along the way, probably.
Yeah,
she probably still does.
No, we really had a hard time finding a name in the beginning. We were going by the Rogers Sisters because that was our name at the time, and that name was actually trademarked.
Another band.
Yeah, and so we just kind of started the search, and that one wasn't taken, and we liked the alliteration, and that's really all that there is to it, honestly.
One day we'll find a way
story
to make it cool, but unfortunately it's just band names are hard to come up with.
And you know, so hard.
We had not also, like, it wasn't like we were just sitting at home like dreaming up band names, because we didn't plan to be a band. We were on our own separate paths, and you know, I was at MTSU trying to I wanted to be behind the scenes. I didn't want to be in front of a camera or a microphone. and so it's not like we were kind of creating this career and growing it from the ground up. And so it's really hard whenever somebody's like, you're going to be a band. What do you want your name to be? And you're like, I've never thought of that before, you know? So had to think quickly and get a record out quickly, and it's been chaos ever since.
Indeed.
What's on tap for 2025?
We are writing
a new record.
Yeah.
We would love to record it this year, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're already, the gears are turning for the next record, and pretty much as soon as we release a record, we start thinking about the next one.
Yeah.
So we don't know what that will look like. We would love to delve into different territory. I mean, we've talked about a gospel record. We've talked about a Christmas record, all kinds of things, a kids record. So there's a lot of dreams. We'll see which one comes to the
We'll see what we find
forefront.
the time for. That's the trick.
The other thing, too, that I just have to mention is all of the people, the cameos of incredible folks that have populated your universe as this career has unfolded for you. I mean, it's a who's who. It's so great.
We've been very lucky.
You've had some wonderful folks to work with.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. I remember in the very, very beginning, and you know, we had no industry experience whatsoever, but I remember when we started working with Dave Cobb. Dave Cobb was probably the first kind of like champion of us in the very early days. And I remember him saying, as you go through this, you're going to learn that the most talented people you will come across are also the kindest. And that stuck with me, that like buried in my heart. And I've tried to hold it. And there have certainly been times that we haven't been kind, but I do think that when you emit kindness and authenticity, you attract that back to yourself. And I hope that in some way we have done enough of that's the reason why we've had such talented, good people that, found their way into our orbit for a moment. So, yeah.
It's very cool.
Thank you.
Very cool producers.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We've really gotten lucky there.
Yes, we learned so much. I mean, everything that we know now, I feel like, is because we had people who were just so smart and who cared enough about us to impart that, experience and wisdom, and we were ready to learn. So
I have a question too about Muscle Shoals. Like, how aware were you of its epicenter? When did that hit your consciousness?
We were not very aware of that in the beginning. We grew up about 30 minutes outside of Muscle Shoals. So it was a tiny little community called Green Hill, Alabama. And when we were kids, we were just kind of in our little bubble, going to bluegrass festivals and in our church, singing in the church. And we didn't really know much about the history of Muscle Shoals at the time. Our main inspiration was from going to bluegrass festivals. That was kind of the main thing, and church. But I feel like when we were teenagers, maybe our late teens, we were kind of starting to get exposed to that a little bit more. And for me, honestly, until I saw the film, the documentary about Muscle Shoals, that's when I was awakened to how influential it was. Right. And I'm still learning so much about the Shoals, and we'll claim it. We will say that we knew all about it, but we, to be honest, we didn't know a ton about it.
Well, and it's hard when you've lived in a place and you'll hear people in passing talk about, how legendary it is, but you just can't really appreciate it until you get outside of it. And I think that for a lot of people that we knew, the documentary that they put out that was just so well done, it not only highlighted like the level of talent that came there, but it also just really emphasized like what a cultural shift was happening in the middle of Alabama, of all places. And I don't know, it really kind of helped us have more reverence for it than, and it was never like a disrespect. Our dad would always talk about Muscle Shoals, but we're just little kids, we're listening to what our parents listened to, and that's basically it. But now that we're older, boy, there's a lot of magic there, and it's not the genre style that we typically just fall naturally into, but we love so many components of it that we definitely were intentional about putting some of those on the most recent record. So I think you can hear a little bit of the, hometown affection in our new record.
Yeah.
So great. Well, I can't wait for the next record.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy that you came to see us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Finally.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the support. We know you guys, you've got our back.
Well, and we love playing you on the radio.
Yes.
We go back several albums deep, and can't wait for the next one, and whatever of the aforementioned things might occur, we have a home for it.
Well,
that's so kind.
You guys have been really good to us over the years, and we're really grateful for that.
Thank you. So great to see you.
Thanks for having us.
The Secret Sisters for WMOT Roots Radio at the 30A Songwriters Festival.